Speak Easy podcast listeners. I am excited. Guys, I know this has been a phenomenal experience. Oh my goodness. Out to be spelled to hear your voice manager. I unmute the voice of women who are ready to speak up about what has kept her silent for way too long. And this Power of Why series has gone off the rails. You guys have been getting some insight into this whole power of why that you probably have never heard before. And guess what? It's not ending. We have even more powerful stories and messages to be able to push you into your power of why and really take you to that next level. But here's the thing. When we think about the power of why, and this is why this episode is going to be a really interesting one, is sometimes the power of why, sometimes our why is like us getting, a brand new horse. And why that's so significant is because I know a lot of you, depending on where you are, you may have never ridden a horse. But I'm going to challenge you, and I'm going to take this challenge too, that I am going to go and take a horse riding lesson. Wish me luck. But there's a reason why. Because sometimes our why is like that brand new experience. It's like getting on a horse that we've never come in contact with before. And that is why I'm excited about my guest today. Hello, Petra. How are you?
Hey, I am so excited to be here and to get to talk horse. So thank you for having me. And also thank you for asking me about my why and how that has influenced my life and what I do.
Most definitely. And I'm excited about this topic, but let them know a little bit about you and then we'll dive into the topic.
Sounds good. So my name is Petra Christensen. I'm originally from Germany and I've been here in the US for a quarter of a century now. Wow, that's quite a long time. So about half of my life in Germany, half of my life in the US, and it has given me probably a little bit of a unique insight, coming in another country, starting from scratch, my power of why I wanted to come here and how that has all turned out. And yes, at some point, like a friend of mine said, at some point you will feel like the bandits and Indians are surrounding you. And like back then, the pioneers, when we didn't have conversations and we didn't have communications and we were confronting each other. And that's also how I felt sometimes when I came here. And my passion has always been horses. Since I've been little, I wanted to have a horse, and my parents made me wait until I was 13 years old. And then guess what? I bought my own horse. I scraped all my money together and I bought a Norwegian fjord horse named Tanya. And she taught me so much. And ever since then, 40 years later, I'm still into horses. I'm still enjoying them. I'm still mesmerized by what they can teach us. So yes, if you have the opportunity to interact with a horse, go for it and really take it as a learning experience to learn about yourself and what we bring to the table and how the horse responds to us.
That is powerful. When we think about just the experience, I know many of you Speak Easy podcast listeners can probably name at least one movie where you've seen somebody get kicked by a horse or somebody get thrown from off of a horse. And when we think about our why, there have been times where, guess what? It's been a rocky start. There have been times where we've gotten knocked off track. I mean, let's be honest, for this year, it's been an interesting experience. And there have been a lot of people who got knocked off track, where they just knew that they had it all together. They had everything in place. And then we had the pandemic and we had all of these other shifts and things happen. So when getting into that first time experience, because some of them, it's a first time coming back or it's their first time ever coming, what would you say is the most important thing for them to remember when they first come up and meet that horse?
That's a really, really good question, because I remember my first riding lesson. I was told, get in the horse and ride into the arena. And I remember, at 13 years of age, I'm like, okay, how do I do that? Right? So there is actually so much more than getting on the horse and riding. And I would really encourage you to find somebody that gives you the opportunity to meet the horse on the ground and have a proper introduction and learn the horse's body language. There's such a huge piece missing a lot of times when we go to a riding school, because guess what? We think, okay, a horse, we need to ride. But there's so much more to it than riding a horse. And when we really learn how to be the lead in our herd of two, then everything becomes possible, right? So we always think it's Black Beauty, the stallion that is leading the herd and is taking care of the whole, right? Well, it's actually the lead mare. All horses are following the lead mare. No horse follows the stallion. The stallion actually is in the back of the herd and is making sure the herd is safe and is protecting the herd and is keeping it together. But the lead mare is making all the decisions. So when we, especially we women, lead mare confidence, when we choose to be the lead and emulate the lead mare, then everything becomes possible. And that really starts on the ground, getting to know the horse, introducing ourselves, letting them see who we are. And from the very first moment, we need to show up as the lead. We need to be clear about our personal space, about our boundaries. And that gets kind of hard when we don't know the horse and we don't know what they're like, right? So there's this wonderful challenge to really think about, what is it like to be a good lead? And it's not about dominant leadership that we see so often in the corporate world in our society. It's really more of a passive leadership. So it's a fascinating subject, right? I'm so excited about it.
Oh my goodness. So I'm sitting here and I'm just like, oh wow, like come in ready to lead. When we look at that and we look at it in the perspective of our why, wow, come in with that energy, come in with that confidence, come in with that boldness, saying, I'm going to make this happen. I am going to lead. That is significant because for so many of us, we've gone through where we thought we were not leadership. We were told that we were not leadership. We were told that we had to be it just mixed in with the crowd, that, we had to blend in. We couldn't be authentically ourselves. And so listening to this, I'm like sitting over here with this big smile on my face because I know that just was an aha moment for someone. Someone listening in is like, so I don't have to come in, thinking, woe is me, I don't know anything, or, oh, this is too overwhelming. No, I come in with that leadership mentality. That was powerful.
Thank you. Thank you. My kitty is joining us.
No
This is
worries,
like
no
Sally
worries.
Fitzgerald. Yes, so that is such a good point that and especially we women, we're usually seen in a supportive role so many times. And when we come into a leadership role, oftentimes we get, labeled as a certain word that starts with a B. Guess what? And it's just because our society has a certain idea of who we should be and how we should behave. And when we break out of that norm, then not everybody likes that, right? So I think that's where it's so important that we really become our authentic self. And that's why horses are so good for us, because being a prey animal, they're very perceptive. The zebra, when they are at the water hole with a lion, they know whether the lion is looking for water, for a drink, or for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, right? They will gather at the water hole, and they know they're safe because in that moment, that lion has a full belly and he's not interested in getting another meal, right? So horses are super perceptive, and when we show up and we are not ourselves, and we maybe have a mask on, or we have a heart wall, or we're holding back, or we're unsure, the horse knows. They know that there is something going on that they cannot go through and connect with us. And the horse might not know exactly what it is, but it's scary to them. And so then the horse goes into self-preservation and self-protection mode. And that's when you see people getting bit, kicked, thrown off. The horse runs off with them, on top of them, right? And so amazing opportunity to learn about yourself, who you are, who you want to be, right? Who we want to grow into, what our why for that is. And the horse helps us with feedback. And there's this other wonderful opportunity, because feedback isn't always pleasant, right? Horses, they give clear feedback, right? They don't drum around the bush. They're like, look, this is what it is. You're not my lead today. You're not showing up as a lead. That dominant horse will say, oh, well, let me take over. I have no problem being the dominant one in this herd of two. You're not a lead, so I'm be dominant. The passive horse might get scared because they're like, well, I'm not a lead. You're not a lead. Scary, right? So there's this wonderful opportunity to become our best optimal self when we meet the horse. So cool, isn't it?
Oh my goodness. So becoming our best self. One of the things that is really so like something that we look at is that when you tap into your why, it elevates you. It allows you to be able to reach into places that you didn't even think you could reach into. It allows you to go further than what you like. It pushes you. It's like you've been running and you think that you have gotten to the end of your energy, and it's your why that pushes you across the finish line. And so I love that, because even when I think about the energy of you being on that horse and you're actually riding that horse, I have to be I have to be focused. And if I'm not, if I take my eyes off of where I am trying to go, there is a potential for me to lead that horse in the wrong direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Being present, so important for the horse. I have a friend, she says, don't think about chicken dinner. So we cannot think about, oh, no, I have an hour here, I need to pick up the kids from school, what am I going to fix for dinner? I still need to write this email. I haven't checked in my LinkedIn account. You really need to be present in that very moment, because horses are present from one moment to the next, right? So that's really important. Be present. The other thing is, like you said, having focus. Where we focus on, that's where our energy flows. And horses truly communicate with thought, energy, and body language. So when we think about we're moving forward and we're opening up the space and we're making it available, and then our energy starts to flow in that direction, then our horse can follow because we have a clear plan. When we're sitting on the horse and I'm like, well, I don't know where we're going to go today and what are we going to do? And the horse says, I'm lost, right? Let me take over and, show you where we're going to go today. The dominant horse will love to do that. The passive horse, again, will be scared because it's like, well, I'm not the lead. You're not the lead. We're in big doo-doo here, right? You don't know what you're doing, obviously. So important. Be focused and be present. It's the same thing when we want to grow our business or open our business. And even when we have a personal goal that is more about ourselves than our business, we need to be present and we need to be focused on, and that's where our energy will flow, right?
That speaks volumes, because oftentimes they talk about there being this, everybody talks about this magical thing called balance. And you can balance it out. You can focus on, you can multitask, you can do this. And I go, yeah, no. We have to go back and say, yeah, there may be some things that you can multitask and do, but when it comes to you really wanting to be successful at something, it's all about that focus. That focus is necessary, because I have to give my time and attention to something and see it through to completion. Or I don't know when it's going to be completed. And we can't, we get to that point where we kind of drag our feet sometimes, or, we have procrastination that we're dealing with and things like that. We got to get back into the focus of things. We got to be able to say, this is the direction I want to go. And it's interesting because with this year, you can tell the ones who had a clear focus because they're still going. They're still publishing books. They're still they're buying, people are still buying homes. They're focused. And that focus does definitely mean a lot for their business and their brand. Oh my goodness, this has been an amazing conversation. But I want to know, for you, when it comes to your power of why, your why, how has it influenced your business?
Oh, it is my business, absolutely. I can relate to people that got bucked off, I had an experience where somebody talked me to get on a horse that was not ready to be ridden. And the end result was that I was flying through the air and I hit the ground with my face first and I slid a little bit. And then I opened my eyes and the fence post was right in front of me. And so this huge, when we kids, we say, the kids bounce, right? And and they kind of tumble off and they get back on. But my point is that so many people get on a horse that is not rideable, that still lives in self-preservation, that still lives in self-protection. And we're so used to being told it's normal to fall off. I would challenge you that is somebody else's normal. It doesn't have to be yours. If you set yourself up for success, if you have focus, if you get the knowledge first, and, I had a student the other day, she said, well, my friend had a piece of paper in my hand and she said, is it okay for me to give you that piece of paper while I was sitting on my horse? And she says to her friend, well, let's see what happens. Well, the horse sees the paper and the wind picks up and the paper makes a noise and they are in a wild rodeo. So there was not enough focus and there was not enough proper decision making. Oh, let's see. And sometimes this is great, right? I am one of these people. Oh, let's just see, how it goes, right? And there's a beauty in that because you explore the edge. However, that edge is also very close to the cliff going downwards, right? So finding, right? Finding that balance, like you said, balance of being adventurous, moving forward, exploring things, but at the same time, knowing yourself and knowing when it's time to stop and rest and reassess and have a plan, right? I'm so big on, I call it the art of taking inventory. And all of this came out of my power of why, because I know what it's like. I got back on the horse and I had another experience, and I was sitting on the horse crying uncontrollably, and I was frozen. I couldn't even get off the horse. And so I understand what it's like to have fear and anxiety and stress and guilt, and why can't I do this, and why can other people do it and I can't. And it goes back to having knowledge. And I also believe getting yourself support. If I don't know something, I find somebody that does. And if anything, I have the internet and I can do research. And there can be your power of why. If you need support for your power of why, you can find it, right? And that to me was my start. This whole accident was my start of my business, teaching, live and ride with confidence. And you can do that in your horsemanship. You can do that in your everyday life, and then transfer into your business being the lead mare. Remember, all horses follow the lead mare. No horse follows the stallion.
Oh my goodness. I absolutely love this. Speakeasy podcast listeners, I hope you have been listening in and taking some great notes. If not, there is a great little button at the bottom that says pause. It has the two little lines, and rewind. It has the arrow. Go back, make sure that you are jotting down some notes, because this was epic, and helping you to be able to move forward and finish this year strong. I think that is one of the most valuable things that we can give to you right now, is giving you the tools, the resources, the conversations for you to be able to finish the year strong. And while other people are still scared to get back on the horse or to get on the horse for the first time, you can say, well, even if I was on and it didn't work out the first time, I can still get back on. I can still do this. It's still possible. And so we want you to know that this is always about you elevating in life and in business. That is how we succeed. That is how we change the status quo. And that is how we live the best life possible for us. So with that being said, let them know how they can find you online, and also where they can get more information about what it is that you do.
Awesome. Yes. If you have any questions, if you would like to learn more about Live and Ride with Confidence, I've got a link that is really easy to remember, leadmareconfidence.com. And I've got actually a workshop coming up if you guys are interested. And of course, always, 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 you can email me at magic@petrachristensen.com, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Oh, this has been a great episode. Guys, we appreciate and we love you guys. Thank you so much for all of your comments, your reviews, your reactions to this series. This Power of Why series has gone above and beyond what I could have ever imagined. And with that being said, make sure that you're joining the conversation. bit.ly/World Voice Community is the free Facebook group that you can come and join in, or you can leave us a review on your favorite podcasting platform, because guess what? We want to make sure that we have what it is you need to tap into your greatest life. With that being said, I am Altavis Pelzer, your voice manager. I unmute the voice of women, and guess what? Until next time, guys, don't forget to press it out. See ya.